here we go with Robert Rosen, another author of a John Lennon book. This is Nowhere Man. And when did you write this?
I wrote the book. Well,
It's like I'm always so loud and everyone else is so quiet.
I planned out this elaborate introduction. I wrote the book because 30 years ago I was given John Lennon's diaries, and I was asked to use the diaries as source material for an authorized biography. And I was 28 years old, I was unemployed, and it seemed like the opportunity of a lifetime.
Like how did they pick you?
Well, I was friends with John Lennon's assistant. We were good friends. We went to college together. We worked on a college paper, and when he was hired by John Lennon, his first day on the job, he came to me and said, you know, someday we got to write a book about this.
Did he steal these diaries?
Well, I found that out long after the fact. That
How come I couldn't figure that out in 1 second? And
yeah, there's a skeleton in my closet.
Oh,
right there.
that's candy.
We didn't even wait
There
to the
you
end of the show.
Wow. Well, I mean, you didn't steal them though, so you're fine. Right? It was someone else that gave them to you. You're
Yeah,
fine.
somebody gave them to me, and they
So
said,
close into the mic.
So
We want to get this all on the
Oh.
videotape.
yeah, you know, somebody gave them to me, and they said that John had told them in Bermuda that summer, a few months before he was killed, that if something should happen to him, that he should write the true story of his final days, and that he should avail himself of whatever, you know,
I
research
just got
material,
chills.
of whatever research material he needed. And in May of 1981, he came to me with the diaries, and you know, it was obvious that the diaries were the key to the project.
Wow, that is pretty amazing.
And
Did you feel like the fairy godmother when Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to you or something? Like, did it change your life?
it did change my life. I knew as soon as I realized it, you know, God, these are John's diaries. And
Were they scribbled in his handwriting?
yeah, yeah, they were.
They weren't transcribed by Mary Lynn, like.
No, I didn't know Mary Lynn at the time. You know, they were these desk diaries from the New Yorker magazine, and they were in his handwriting.
Wow.
And you know, it was, well, it took me months and months of amphetamine-fueled an effort to crack John's code, and I finally did.
Oh, did he talk in that Liverpool accent like what he wrote?
No. He was just, well, his handwriting was very difficult, and he had codes, initials, and it just took me a long time.
And then you got it, and then it just flowed?
Yes.
How did you crack it?
I just worked on it
So could
16
you
hours a day, 7 days a week, and like, you
And
know,
then-
finally it was like translating a foreign language.
And then eventually it just kicked in and it made sense.
Eventually,
Wow,
kicked
that
in.
is
Yeah,
so
it's like Da
cool.
Vinci writing things back
Oh,
in the
yeah.
mirror.
The John Lennon code.
Yeah.
Wow, that is really wild. So what were the highlights of his diaries? I mean, I know you have a lot of stuff. You want to read some?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to.
Right, I forgot. But I remember now. No, because I want to hear it.
Okay, I can do that now.
Yeah, do you want to now?
Yeah, I could. Okay, well, you know, we can read and then.
Yeah, we can go back and forth. Robert Rosen. So, but before you did all this, wait, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Beaver Street?
No, this book is out now in the UK. It's coming out here in March.
Oh, so this is new.
Yeah, that's the new book.
So this is modern pornography. We'll get to this in a
modern
moment.
pornography.
All right, so first the codes of John Lennon, right? All right.
Okay, the book
Robert Rosen.
has various beginnings. The first beginning, I just told you, that's kind of the intro to the book, the whole backstory. Now this is the beginning of the story of John Lennon's diaries. And this is how the thing begins. It's a section called Being Rich. If I hadn't made money honestly, I'd have been a criminal. I was just born to be rich. New York City, Wednesday, January 9th, 12:06 p.m. The words astounded John Lennon as he stared at the caption beneath the old photograph of himself in the National Enquirer. He remembered thinking them, but had no recollection of ever saying them out loud. Though he loved reading about himself in the tabloids, he hadn't spoken to a reporter in 5 years. He hated the motherfuckers. Since he'd gone into seclusion, virtually everything they wrote about him was libelous fantasy. But there was nothing he could do about it. He was fair game. It had been open season on Lennon for 18 years. Still, he had to admit it was flattering that the press couldn't get along without him and Yoko. At the advanced age of 39, he was mellowing, learning a bit of self-control. He no longer screamed prominently when he came upon a fabricated exclusive written by a hack he'd never met, claiming that John Lennon had gone bald, completely insane. But this nameless Inquirer reporter was clearly not a person to be trifled with. Does he have psychic powers? Can he read my mind? Is he with the CIA? Is my phone tapped again? Is there an internal security leak? Did Yoko tell him? Is it done by satellite? What else do they know? So taken by the quotation was Lennon that he clipped it and pasted it on the first page of his 1980 New Yorker magazine desk diary.
Wow. So was he paranoid, do you think?
Of course he was paranoid. How could he not be?
Exactly. Wow. Wow. So do you feel like you know him?
As I was transcribing the diaries and I finally cracked the code and understood what was going on, and I'm there at my typewriter. This was before computers. I would just I'd sit at my typewriter and I'd type it, and at a certain point it felt like I was communicating with John.
Yeah, I almost feel like he's channeling you, like still. Do you feel like that ever?
It happens occasionally.
I almost feel it like I don't think like you picked it. It picked you.
I was just
Now,
sitting.
why do you think you were the picked one?
I don't know. That I was friends.
Where are you from?
From Brooklyn. That's where.
When's your birthday?
July 27th.
What was his birthday?
October 9th.
Oh, right, I knew that. It's my cousin Denise's birthday. I knew that, but I forgot. Wow. So 27th, you said?
Yeah, July 27th. It's a 9.
2 and 7 is a 9. Exactly.
Yeah, there's a big numerology chapter here that goes into excruciating detail about the numbers.
And do you have a correlation with them? Do you connect with it?
Well,
with his numbers and your numbers, do they
well,
overlap?
just the fact that I'm 27, that everybody important in his life was
with a 9.
A number 9.
Right,
Yoko,
number 9.
Paul McCartney, Sean, a whole bunch of others.
Yeah, I believe in that stuff. I mean, it's too much, right, to even question. So, what was the pinnacle of publishing the book? Like how did you get it from soup to nuts? How did?
I was given the diaries in 1981, and it took me 18 years to find a way.
A 9.
To finally tell it, and I don't know how. It was just I somehow communicated the feeling of the diaries without actually quoting from it. And what the book is, it's the emotional truth of John Lennon's inner life set within a framework of facts that I believe are true.
Now, did he have a premonition? Did he think he was going to die, do you think? Because it seemed like even in what you just said, it almost felt like it.
His assistant said that he did have a premonition that in Bermuda, that was why he told him that if something should happen to him.
And it wasn't the triangle.
No, it wasn't the triangle. No.
Right, but...
No, he just, he had a bad cloud hanging over him, and, he just felt he was doomed. And in one of his songs, in the song Borrowed Time, he just, flat out says, living on borrowed time without a thought for tomorrow.
Right.
He knew it.
So do you call yourself a John Lennon expert?
I am an expert, really, on the last 5 years, but, obviously I have a pretty good sense of his entire life.
Wow. It's pretty wild. So, you want to read a little more?
Sure.
Yeah, I want to hear more. So how'd you end up calling it Nowhere Man? What made that the significant summary?
The last part of the book is about Mark David Chapman, and they were both, nowhere men. Mark David Chapman and Nowhere Man was an autobiographical song.
Right.
And it just fit because in
I mean, it's a great title.
his last 5 years, he was really drifting. That before he started working on Double Fantasy,
Yeah.
he just, really didn't know. And, he was going nowhere until he finally got back into gear. I am going to read. This is this is called Jerusalem, a Fantasy. Now, John was never in Jerusalem, as far as I know. This is my fantasy of Lennon's fantasy. And it's kind of a distillation of everything that I felt from the diaries. Yoko, on the advice of her council of seers, sent John on another directional voyage to Jerusalem. Time has stood still for 2,000 years, Lennon wrote, looking out his hotel window at the Jaffa Gate, the walls of the old city. Inside the walls, he wandered the streets, the Via Dolorosa, hiding behind sunglasses, his shoulder-length hair flowing like Jesus's underneath a Panama hat. He gawked at the Arabs in their headdresses, sitting on stools outside ancient coffee houses, smoking huge chunks of hashish, 3 or 4 of them pulling off enormous hookahs, like Alice in Wonderland. He too wanted to smoke, but he was afraid. Don't want to do time in an Israeli prison, he thought. Child beggars, their eyes infected by disease, swarmed around him, demanding money. He gave them his coins. Everywhere he went, he felt the energy of Jesus fucking Christ, Abraham, and Mohammed, like they walked here an hour ago. On the 3rd day, he took a cab to the Mount of Olives, Gethsemane. A Mercedes driven by a Jew in Jerusalem takes me to the garden of Jesus' agony. In the garden, he got down on his knees and prayed, "Dear God, please forgive my sins." He wept. I can feel Jesus' pain, he thought. I too will be betrayed. A young woman, an American tourist, she asked if he was okay. He invited her back to his hotel, and it was only after he'd taken off his hat and sunglasses that she realized who he was. "Oh my God," she said, "nobody's going to believe this. I picked up John Lennon in Gethsemane. I want to wash your feet," he told her. She said yes. He filled the basin with water. He sat down in a chair. She sat down in a chair. He got down on his knees, took off her sandals, sponged the dust from her feet. "I'm your humble servant," he said. She looked at him, his eyes filled with fear and astonishment. "This is what I must do," he explained.
Whoa. We're going to take a quick break and then come back and find out more and learn more about Beaver Street. And I know you have a skeleton in your closet, Mr. Rosen. We'll be right back.